You really oughtn't to see these videos because you might see something so terrifying that you'll hope that you would not see it. Number 5. This concerning video, which I am about to show you, was posted on March 18, 2017 by a person who had been on the verge of self-destruction for years.
Things are much worse this time. Something seems to be after me. I don't know what else to say. Except goodbye.
And you won't believe what he does next. However, firstly, let me tell you about his ordeal. His psychological agony would start in early 2015, roughly 2 years before his final farewell. That's when someone started banging his door, almost every evening, for days on end. He lives alone and is a very confidential person, so much so that we never know his name. It's unusual for him to have a visitor, let alone in the middle of the night. Even though the knocks were intrusive at first, he reasoned that if he took no notice of them, they would stop. However, when that didn't work, he made up his mind to begin documenting everything right away in case he was in want of taking it to the cops or something later on. He also chose to come face to face with it and, if necessary, take up cudgels for himself. This incident occurred on February 12, 2015. It begins with 2 knocks that are so soft that you might think you're imagining them. However, after weeks of harassment, he is frazzled and listens to every noise, so he starts from action, ready to meet force with force. However, there's one problem. There's never anything to come face to face with. Pay close attention to this section because I listen to chatter after he locks up. On the 13th of February, 2015, he establishes a second camera outside. Friday the 13th, to be precise. It does, indeed, begin again. When he opens the door, there is not anyone that is there. It's also not 2 separate videos because his movements in both videos sync perfectly, such as at 1 minute and 15 seconds when he flattens his hair. Even if he went through this routine, it would not be this accurate. Oh, and I almost did not remember to mention that this takes place every night at 3 a.m. Anyone would like to change position, and he certainly did. However, because of his financial situation, he had no choice but to endure this or become homeless in the dead of winter. He eventually makes up his mind to go outside before 3 a.m. and see if he can record whatever or whoever is doing this. Even though he doesn't see them, he does discover footprints leading away from his home, into the woods. The footprint is divided into 2 halves, resembling a hoofprint rather than a foot, but with 2 legs rather than 4. Some have speculated that this could be a demon or a cryptid. Even though I'm not sure about all of that, I know he went out at 3 a.m. because I listened to a train throughout the video. Surprisingly, this late night train can be heard in all of his videos, and I believe it is related each other. Something bad had to have taken place on the nearby railroad tracks. By the 28th of August, whatever had left those footprints was seeking other ways inside during the day and at night. It was no longer limited to 3 a.m. Let me know if this is a creature or something far worse. I didn't notice any claws tapping. That was the sound of someone moving quickly. This is something a raccoon or a possum would do at night. Something big happened in the middle of the day, like a restless spirit. Therefore, after years of encountering this and other similar situations, perhaps you can understand why, after saying goodbye in March of 2017, he simply made up his mind to open the door and come to an end. No matter what it was, it didn't sound like a person. This mysterious final video was posted on January 1, 2019, more than 2 years later.
Goodbye.
Those have the sound of church bells. Could this be a funeral video, or is it his? And whoever wrote these responses on a computer by pressing the keys is not at all like him.
Those sound like...
Number 4. A man has been caused suffering by a demonic invasion that will not let him rest. On February 9, 2017, he captures not one, but two shadow figures standing nearby. All you can hear is his nasal breathing as he stands there, stunned and attempting not to yell, while this heavy drape breathes in and out on its own. Keep an eye on how it moves. That isn't the wind blowing. Furthermore, it had been motionless for the previous 4 minutes and 40 seconds. And you certainly don't want to see what's going on in his other window. In a moment, I'll show you its true form. But for the time being, let's concentrate on a couple of different incidents. On July 22nd of that same year, he is repeatedly turning over a crystal, possibly in the hope that some of its conservative energy will rub off on him. Starting at 1 minute and 33 seconds, a bright spot appears in front of his eyes slowly but steadily. As the omen spins around, he sees a grinning reptile-like face, its stony face shrouded in half-darkness, that he believes is the Lord of the Underworld himself. This is related to a separate incident that occurred 12 days earlier on July 10th. That's when he says to have captured a ghoul lurking in the bush outside his window. When you stop at 3 seconds, it does appear to be the top half of a skeletal face that quickly vanishes into the bushes, black eyes and all. What was that? It wasn't a normal animal, so what was it? It bears striking resemblance to the face seen in the crystal nearly 2 weeks later. It would from time to time appear in the most unexpected places, such as the folds of a piece of fabric, as seen here on February 15, 2017. Do you notice the eerie goblin face with the long nose, large ears, and open mouth? I can even notice an eye. That is the friendlier of the two faces. This second one appears to have two anxious eyes and a mouth that is permanently screamed. Even though there is less detail, and some of the features are out of proportion to and misshapen, it is still present. Therefore, now that you've watched the demon's face a few times, I'm sure you're eager to see the rest of it, as well as the rest of the original video. When he crawled into his house that fateful early February day, this is what he noticed. This upside-down creature seems to be one of the many beings he claims to see on a regular basis. Although it's difficult to figure out what this is, it's even more difficult to blow out of the water, and it brings a bad feeling to me all around. I show a tendency that I believe this video, as well as all of these sightings. He makes out that the video's quality has deteriorated over time since it was uploaded, and that the being used to be more detailed and even had horns. I don't understand how a digital copy could become less clear, but the colors do appear muted here and were apparently brighter. So I'm curious if you believe this man is seeing demons in his house or if it's all in his head. As much as I would like to believe this is a delusion, as some do, I don't necessarily agree. Number 3. Luan Mendez is a YouTuber who is courageous to risk his life in the name of a paranormal investigation and, as this video demonstrates, is eager to investigate the scariest local legends he can find. One such legend centers on a gloomy figure known only as La Senhora Fantasma, or the Ghost Lady. It is said that the Ghost Lady still haunts the house where she died years ago. She earned a reputation as a life-taker and lived a black-hearted existence full of loathing until the end. It is believed that her spirit still appears in the bathroom mirror if you enter there and summon her for an unholy visit, which is the goal for tonight. They begin by calling her name loudly outside the property, hoping she will come through the window. They go inside because she doesn't pop up. Even though the place has been stripped bare, it appears to be suitable to live in, at least in terms of abandoned places. However, it's more about how it feels than it is about how it looks. Something about the small scale and cramped space feels ill-fitting and out of place, as if nothing good has ever taken place here and only incredible horrors await anyone foolish enough to stay inside. They move unnoticed their way into the room, where her legendary mirror hangs blemish-free in the midst of the chaos. While his friends keep an eye on Luan, he stands alone. His sound quality is waiting with bated breath and, once again, not very courteous as he addresses the notorious Ghost Lady with a provocation rather than a requirement. Even though they get ready to leave when they make up their mind to turn on the shower to see what happens.
Aparece aqui, senhora. Vamos ver. Nada.
Surprisingly, wholesome water drips from a rusted pipe that ought not to activate and doesn't even have a showerhead. This was most likely where she hung the remains of the lives she had taken, upside down and filleted open, to flow in the shower. Seeing this smashed shower work again so soon after they had doubted her abilities causes them to reconsider their situation and wonder if they should have taken a nicer tone. However, it doesn't matter because it's early enough. They seem to be walking towards the exit, and everything appears much more pessimistic and frightening than it did before, more of a feeling than anything else as if a huge evil has awoken and is spreading across the otherwise plain walls. And that's when she manifests, not when Lewin tells her to, nor in the mirror, where legend has it she should be, but perhaps that's the whole point. Her house, her set of rules. Even though they lock themselves away in a room for a while, debating what to do, the situation resolves itself by the time they open the door. The lady appears to have proven her point that she is real, as she disappears as quickly as she arrived. This video would be too difficult to fake because all they would need is an older woman to stand in the doorway, which is, coincidentally, a lot easier to do than using special effects to bring her into the mirror. For these reasons, even though I believe this video is fake, that doesn't mean the legend is wrong, or that something else wasn't watching them from the shadows all along. Number 2. Corey and Devon are two YouTubers who have a joint channel where they share their adventures as well as family vlogs. Although they haven't been updated in over 2 years, the videos are still available for viewing, and some of them, believe it or not, are persuasively paranormal. The videos I'm referring to revolve around Nonna's Pizzeria in Magna, Utah, a family business with a terrible secret, a long-standing curse bestowed upon him generations ago by a vengeful small-town witch. It is said that the curse has opened a portal into the afterlife, allowing numerous spirits to pass through, including the incorrigible witch herself, who remains as mean and evil as ever. Corey and Devon are by no means a professional ghost hunting channel, and they have little acquirements dealing with the paranormal outside of television. However, when they have an opportunity to pay a visit to one of the locations they recognize from the show Ghost Adventures, they jump at the chance. As a result, on October 21, 2017, they find themselves confronted with the curse's owners and most recent inheritors. This place is haunted by a dark entity as old as the building itself. It sometimes appears to their son as a young girl eager to play. It occasionally grabs them by the throat. The owners claim that if they attempt to put the company on sale, the spirit has affirmed that it will burn it down. They must live and bear the curse for all future generations, or pay the price through financial ruin. They doubt that it is from the attic, so they set up a grid of lasers to see if anything is blocking the light. They do, indeed, capture this black floating blob on night vision. Apart from the head of this shadow figure, the rest of the wooden beam seems to be a much lighter color. They enter the attic space with cameras in hand, hoping to capture something up close and personal. Even though it's not almost bright enough to see anything, the camera can't appear to keep focus, almost as if someone is standing directly in front of Corey, despite the fact that no one is there. And they get a confirmation as soon as they begin talking about how the demonic force always appears to get together in this particular location.
They're kind of going in and out.
I'll play it with the sound turned up. Is it heard by you? In my opinion, it was a yell, and the K2 meter also went all the way up at the mere mention of its attendance.
In this area here.
They eventually pinpoint the exact location where they believe it is standing, and they doubt that it requires more electricity in the air to have an effective conversation. They say they'll provide it more energy, and it appears to fully comprehend at this point. And, true to their theory, when they use a taser to charge the air and give it the old family name of Cooper, the ghost is finally able to push the meter into the red not once, but twice. All of this happened in 11 seconds, so I believe something is standing with them and it is real. However, soon, a different force, possibly the witch, sweeps across the room.
Come on, Cooper. Thank you. Thank you. Cooper family.
Yes, is that who it is?
Are we right? Are we right?
A simple yes or no communication method is used to determine whether the person they are speaking with intends to harm them. The Coopers appear to have fully pulled back by this point, and the attic feels much different now, as if an intruder has entered. And when they destroy the heavy equipment for an EVP session to see if they're right about this change, this single word is broadcast loud and clear. Do you believe this says evil as they claim? Because I am aware of it. And when they say to it to throw light on, it has 3 words that I can hear quite well as well.
Evil.
Please let me know if you can listen to it or if you think something else is being said.
Try to focus a little stronger and make it come out a little clearer, please. On your name.
I believe it is pretty clear that the curse is real, and perhaps they ought to make the spirit keep its word and leave this place for good. Number 1. Dog Vlogs, a YouTuber who has been uploading since mid-2016, concentrates on discovering haunted places that are as frightful as they come, with a preference for historic locations whenever possible. It seems that he has been known to collaborate with the likes of Mo Sagi and others in order to expand the scope of his paranormal investigations and solidify his place in the YouTube ghost hunting community. On January 20, 2020, he travels to a single-story home rumored to contain secrets so terrible that no one in the community would like to share any details other than the address. Curiosity drives him to the location, where he meets up with fellow ghost hunters Tay and Carlo to see what this house has to offer. The first thing they make out is a glowing yellow light that shines faintly with a wavering light strangely over a bolted closed door. It seems to be one of the only working lights in the house, and it's shining brightly to attract their attention. However, I'll get to that in a minute. For the time being, notice how the camera goes out of focus as if something or someone invisible is standing directly in front of him. It takes place again at exactly 3 minutes and continues until he finishes asking people to make a comment on if they see anything. They go back to the mysterious locked door after some more discovering and find marks where it has been repeatedly drilled shut as well as a padlock. Something extremely powerful must have been in here at one point, and the family must have been determined to keep it contained. However, when they open the door, they are greeted by a colorful race car border above. This is a child's room over the places. They doubt that a child was imprisoned here for extended periods of time, and I believe the evidence supports this. I'm guessing they were kept here until they were adults. In addition, they appear to believe that this section of the door was struck or clawed out over time, possibly after a long period of isolation, which would necessitate tremendous strength. Even though I believe it is simply termite damage, you tell me. So, tell me why you believe the child was imprisoned here. It could have been bad parenting or behavioral issues. The lengths they had to go to keep the child contained appear to indicate an extreme psychological state that would necessitate constant alertness. Their child most likely needed to be kept away from sharp objects and locked in at night so they didn't do anything dangerous to themselves or their parents while they slept. In contrast, it's possible that this isn't the case at all, and that the child had black-hearted, distraught parents who did this for no reason. On March 28, 2 months later, D-Dog investigates a different abandoned house. And this investigation is becoming so crazy that I require your assistance figuring out if it's real or not. Is this red paint, or is it what I believe it to be? I sincerely hope not. At 2:10, it appears that someone was jabbed in the corner, stumbled a few steps forward to the center of the room, and after that, went to the doorway. Then they increased twofold back, still leaking, and probably crumpled in this corner where the trail ends, or perhaps that's where someone else put them. I get the impression that there was more than one person here because of the tiny red splotches leading upstairs. This red substance has become dry against the wall and does not appear to be reassuring. And, sadly, there is more evidence in the corner of this upstairs room. However, the most gruesome thing of all, even creepier than what's on the wall or on the floor, is what's in this tiny unassuming corner, or rather what happens when they get too close. This is the only part of the video that blurs, and for no apparent reason. It's as though something is attempting to catch their attention, perhaps for the first time realizing that it has crossed over to the other side and can no longer make contact with the living. You're probably curious about where the homeowners were, and I was as well. However, with a basement flooded with solid ice, I believe we both know the answer. Thanks for checking out this video. Be sure to subscribe because I upload a new video every day. Or if you're still not convinced, here are some of my other videos that I think you'd like. Enjoy.